Hey everybody, I'm Lou. Welcome to my channel and welcome to this November 2023 forecast. So this is a general astrology and tarot card reading, and I do recommend that you watch for your rising sign first if you know it. Then you can watch your sun sign and your moon sign afterwards if you wish to do so, but the rising sign is going to be the most accurate. Also, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. That really helps me and also helps me to continue to produce these forecasts down the track. Now, as always, I wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land that I'm doing these readings on, the Gumbaynggirr people, and recognize their continued connection to their culture and country. I wish to pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging, and I recognize that this is and always will be Aboriginal land. Let's get into the forecast. Hello there, Aquarius. Welcome to your monthly reading for November 2023. Let's open up the reading with truth. So this month we are in Scorpio season, okay? So we are looking at your 10th house. So the energy of the 10th house, which is oftentimes it is your career, because it's the house that encompasses whatever you do to feel a sense of achievement and satisfaction in your life. So success is the underlying emotional tone of the 10th house, is success. It doesn't have to be work. Okay, it can be family, it can be major life goals, it can be anything like that that's involved. It's the empire that you build over your lifetime, right? So the 10th house really is where we put our legacy, the way that we build an empire around ourselves, our own personal empire. And then when we move into the 11th house, then we're looking at how we give that back to community, what we contribute back to the world as a whole. So that's really the kind of stuff we're looking at this month through that Scorpio season. You have the sun there, you have Mars there, and you have Mercury there for the first 3 weeks. We also have a new moon that's happening on the 13th of November in Scorpio. Now that moon is going to be conjunct Mars, tight conjunction with Mars, and a tight opposition with Uranus, who has been in your 4th house for a long time and particularly active this year. So that 4th house component is going to bring it back to home. So the 4th house represents your home and your inner realm, your emotional realm, your home, your family, and then the 10th house represents the external realm. So the outer, the way the public sees you. Okay, so like what you're recognized for, your reputation, okay? So with this card, this truth card, it's really telling you to be authentic, okay? It's really telling you to line up with your truth. Now, that new moon on the 13th could be very, very challenging because of the conjunction with Mars, the opposition with Uranus. They're both those planets are the planets in the cosmos that catalyze change. Big, rapid, sudden, dramatic change. So this new moon in Scorpio is going to be deep changes, deep shifts within all of us. For you, it may be shifts in your external reality, in your career, your work life, public reputation, something like that. It may come across quite harsh at the time, but it's for the purpose of your next evolution. So the other thing that's happening is on the 8th of November, Venus will move out of Virgo into Libra, into rulership. So she's going to be in a strong position. Now, Libra represents your 9th house, and that is the house of truth. That's the house of your truth, okay? Your own personal truth, meaning your perspective and your view of the world. So this card that's come out around truth is really telling you that the way forward throughout anything that comes up for you this month, any obstacles, any hurdles, anything that is uncomfortable for you, is to speak your truth and be in alignment with your truth. And with Venus there in the 9th, it will make it very easy to do that as long as you're being authentic, okay? So being transparent with other people no matter what. That's how you gain your power, your sense of power and control, okay? Because then the more honest you are, the more truthful you are, the better that the more that the universe can deliver you things that match that truth and that honesty, that authenticity, especially when we're dealing with such an external component of your chart as the 10th house. So your mission this month, Aquarius, really is just to make sure that you're walking your truth, you're speaking your truth, you're in alignment with your truth, even if other people want to challenge that. Know that you have put your best foot forward by being in alignment with your truth, and whatever comes of that is going to be okay. So you're coming into the reading as the Devil in reverse. Actually, that's a really good situation. That's a really good card to get as the energy you're coming in with, because it means that you're overcoming blind spots within your own psyche, maybe, or blind spots within your own reality. If there's people that are causing you to feel unauthentic. So if you have been behaving in ways that do not feel aligned with who you really are, or if you have been coming from a triggered space, or just trying to trying to please other people, okay, you are releasing yourself from that with the Devil in reverse. You're being released from that. Either you're releasing yourself, or something in your environment or your situation is releasing you from that. We do have the 7 of Wands in your environment, so that does tell me that there's going to be or you will feel a need to defend yourself, right? The 7 of Wands comes out when we're feeling attacked and defensive, and we need to maintain our integrity. So this month will be all about integrity for you, Aquarius. And as long as you feel that you have honored yourself, that you've walked in alignment with your truth, that you've maintained your integrity, you can move forward with your head held high, no matter what the events happen, no matter what other people think and feel about the situation. The only person you can control is yourself, right? So making sure that you are doing your best regardless of what anyone else is doing. That's the message of that 7 of Wands in the environment. So the other thing that's happening this month is that we will have a full moon in Gemini, and that happens on the 27th of November. So at the end of the month, this moon again is causing a lot of conflict. It's a very challenging moon. It's in your 5th house, and it's going to be in opposition with Mars in your 11th house. At that point, Mars will move into Sagittarius on the 24th. Okay, so it will be in your 11th house being the house of the people in your life. So your friendships, your work networks, so the people that are involved in this situation. And the 5th house, this full moon in the 5th house, is really asking you to look at your own uniqueness, what makes you unique and what separates you from the crowd, what brings out your own personal spark, what is it that you bring to the situation that other people cannot. That may be challenged this month. Either people are going to be jealous, or people are going to feel threatened. And this may be what brings up this defensiveness. Now, this moon is also making a T-square with Saturn, who is in Pisces in your 2nd house. So a T-square is an aspect in astrology that is very challenging because it makes 2 or more components of our lives be very polarized. We can't gel them together. They do not mesh. So we have to find a way to overcome the polarity of these 2 experiences, or these 2 needs, something maybe drawing our attention one way. So feeling like we're being pulled in multiple different directions, really. Now, this may have something to do with finances for you, Gemini, especially, if it is a work situation you're dealing with. But really what it is talking about underlying the actual physical components of whatever comes out for you is the value that you place upon yourself. So maybe, with that 10th house, 11th house, 5th house, maybe the problem really is, are you valuing yourself? If you value yourself, you will walk in alignment with your truth because you know your own worth. And no matter what other people say or do, or what events you're engaging in, you know your worth because of your value, your sense of value. And so you continue to maintain that integrity. So if you're struggling with your integrity, if you're struggling to walk in alignment with your truth, there's a place for you to look, that maybe there is somewhere where you are not valuing yourself, or that you are undervaluing yourself. So Saturn has been in that 2nd house since March and will be there for another 2 years. So he is really putting a solid foundation in your life around this value storyline. So how much do you value yourself? How much are you worth? That usually comes out physically in how much money you earn, okay? Or how much money you have access to, your possessions. It's a really good place to look at your possessions if you want to know what you actually value. So what do you spend your money on? It will tell you what you value subconsciously, okay? And that's a really good way to reflect on that Saturn in the second house transit. And this full moon, like I said, in Gemini is a good time to do that work. A lot of information may come up from the subconscious during that time, emotional information, right? So look at how you're feeling during that moon, the days leading up to that moon and the days transitioning out of that moon, because those feelings are going to help you to identify values. We have the Queen of Swords and the Two of Wands. Oh, I didn't talk about the Lovers, sorry. So the universe, the Lovers is in the position of what the universe needs from you, okay? Needs you to embody this Lovers card, right? It's a similar message to what I've been talking about already with the Truth card here as well, because the Lovers, whilst it does represent the love of another person, you know, like a twin flame lover coming into your life or who's already in your life, but in this position, I feel like it's talking about the interconnectedness within yourself, being connected, being whole within yourself. So completing yourself, and being self-generative, being self-partnering. So we can partner with other people only to the extent of how much we partner with ourselves internally. Okay. So if there's a lot of conflict inside, that's going to come out as conflict on the external, but also it's going to come out as feeling like you cannot walk in alignment with your truth because you're seeking external validation. You're wanting other people to like you. You're wanting other people to need you, maybe even. You're needing other people to tell you that you did a good job in order for you to feel like you did a good job, which is back to front Aquarius, okay? This is the lessons that a lot of us have had to go through. Most people really have to learn this for themselves. You know, I can talk to you as much as possible and get the information to you, but really you have to go through it to learn it. You have to be able to feel it, feel your way into it, because once you start to be your own source of that validation, once you start to say, I did a good job and mean it, regardless of what anybody else thinks, okay? Holding your head high, walking with integrity. Once you are that's called self-partnering, and that means that you are flowing within yourself. So we self-partner by acknowledging and validating ourselves. We also connect with the higher aspects of ourselves. So our inner being, our higher self, source energy, whatever you call it, whatever it is for you, that feels authentic, feels like your truth. That bigger component of yourself is required that you tap into that for your strength, for your energy, for this alignment with your truth. Because that bigger component of yourself is always eternally in alignment with your truth. So when you are not in alignment with your inner being, it feels uncomfortable, right? There's uncomfortable emotions that come up. And that is because you're not in alignment with your truth. So that's how we know. So if you're looking at this month, if you're engaging in this month and you're feeling uncomfortable in any way emotionally, that's just your indicator, okay, to come back to that alignment, start to see it from the perspective of your source energy. So there is this opportunity to look at things through a new lens with the Queen of Swords here, okay? Because you are being released with the Devil in reverse, you may have been undoing, even throughout last month, undoing a lot of toxic patterns anyway, okay? You may have been undoing a lot of that through Libra season. I feel like through the October, through Libra season, through that eclipse that we had an eclipse last month on the 14th of October. Maybe this is the ongoing process of that. That eclipse in your 9th house was really questioning your perspective, your views on the world, your views on yourself, your views on where you stand, on who you are, on what you're doing moving forward, okay? the meaning that you apply to life, how you engage in life. So a lot of that would have come up around the middle of October, and then even into the end of October. We had that eclipse in Taurus as well. So the eclipses were potent last month. And so maybe that's where this devil in reverse has been undoing and shifting and changing. You've been in this changing process of being released from these trapped toxic patterns, and you have this opportunity this month to apply a new perspective, a fresh perspective. The Queen of Swords, she is very clear. She cuts through any bullshit, okay? She is super clear. She super knows what she's doing, what she's thinking. She thinks very deeply about things, but from a logical, rational perspective. She is the beingness of intelligence. So she is like that inner knowing, that when you just know. And that's what the Queen of Swords represents. Okay, so this is how you follow your truth, when you just know, following that just knowing is coming from this alignment with your inner being. And that maybe you need to defend that with the Seven of Wands. Maybe you will have to follow it anyway. Maybe you just have a knowing and you're following it and other people are questioning that, but you have this vision. The Two of Wands here represents this vision that you have for yourself, and you know wholeheartedly, and you're going to just have to back yourself at this time, Aquarius. Knight of Cups. Yep, you're going to have to follow it. Whatever that knowing is, the moon, it's coming from the unconscious mind. It's coming from a higher space. So remembering that emotions are a guidance system, Aquarius. They're a guidance system to help us to navigate this physical world. So that the way that our soul, that our spirit, that our inner being, our higher self speaks to us is through our emotions. It's a language. Okay, and so these things coming up with this moon energy out of the unconscious, there's this I just know something. I don't know why I know. I don't know how I know, but it's truth because it feels like that feeling of truth, even if you don't know where it's come from. And it requires you to follow it forward. It's a vision for the future. It's moving forward and following your heart space. This has been coming up. This message has been coming up a lot for a lot of signs, Aquarius, about following a heart space. We did do that work back in August with the Venus retrograde, okay? The Venus retrograde in Leo was really opening us up, opening our heart up. That represented your 7th house at that time. And so that was about relationships. That was about the mirror between you that other people hold up for you to look at yourself, to reflect on yourself. And it really was asking you to open your heart. And all of us really to open our hearts. And now the knock-on effect of that, as we've moved out of that and we're moving forward into our lives, the challenge is to keep following that heart space that was open. So this is the Knight of Cups, is really challenging you to follow your heart space and applying logic, of course. Queen of Swords is here too. So it's not like just throwing out the logic and rationality. So when you're using the mind, you're using that logic as the rudder to kind of guide the heart, because the heart can be quite broad. It can think in very broad terms, which is beautiful, but sometimes the mind needs to kind of put steps in place. Okay, like that's not going to be possible right now, but these are the steps we can take to get there. So the heart doesn't think about the steps, the heart thinks about the big picture, and then the mind breaks it down into steps, if that makes sense. So you can utilize both faculties equally, but remembering to follow the heart and not necessarily needing to know the logic as long as it feels like truth to you, Aquarius. A light grows brighter only by lighting another. And that really comes into play next at the end of the month. So we start Sagittarius season on the 22nd, okay, of November. Mars will move into Sagittarius on the 24th. So Then we are in this 11th house energy. So we take all this energy into the 11th house, and the 11th house is your house of friendship. So maybe this is going to be a friend who's going to need your light, and it is also the house of our work network. So maybe you are sharing. You remember I said at the beginning that the 11th house is where we give back to community. So the 10th house is where we build our legacy, and then when we move into the 11th, we're giving back to community. We're giving it back. We give it away. Okay, so this is what it's talking about, is whatever you have created, whatever you've achieved for yourself, look at how you can then give that away to help light up the people around you. So you can light up other people in so many ways. There's so many ways you can do that. You can be a support system for other people. You can be an inspiration for other people. You know, with the Venus in the 9th house, you may be really inspiring everybody right now. That you can be a teacher. You know, you can find people who, or people may find you in that 11th house once we move into Sag season, maybe looking for a teacher or looking for somebody who has the knowledge that you have, and you can share that with somebody else or with multiple other people. Maybe you will be recognized for your experience and your strengths and be asked to mentor somebody or teach something in some way. So I like that for you, Aquarius. I think that's part of that worthiness storyline as well, is recognizing and putting value on your knowledge and your experience, all the experience, the emotional, the virtual backpack that you bring with you from your life, your funds of knowledge, okay, around whatever it is that you've gathered over your lifetime. You've gathered so much, and sometimes we don't recognize that, and that comes from that space of not feeling valuable or not feeling worthy. And if you actually were to stop and see yourself through the eyes of somebody who is, 10, 15, 20 years younger than you, depending on your age, you actually have a lot to share. And so coming at it, looking at it from that perspective, it's not really about you. Okay, sometimes we can get very almost narcissistic when we start working on our worth and our value, especially if you feel like you are not worthy or you don't have any value. That's a very narcissistic sort of perspective to come from, because actually everybody has a lot of worth and a lot of value, and it's not really about you and how good you are, but it's about the other people and what they need from you. Okay, so looking at it from that perspective, what do other people need that I can provide, is a really good way to come at this. I like this card here with this full moon that's happening in Gemini, because in that 5th house is the house of our light. It's the house of our unique creative spark, okay? So our creativity, what makes us us, what fires us up, what lights us up is our hobbies, our interests, our personal self-expression. So during that moon, with all that conflict that's happening, your self-expression may be challenged, and it requires you to step forward and do it anyway, knowing your own value. And that's the way that we light up the world, by being an inspiration, by being an example. You don't even need to do anything other than just be an example of the light that you have to offer. Some people don't do that because they think that's selfish, but actually it is a very selfless act to be completely aligned and authentic in your light. Now, I am doing a separate video on that full moon, so look out for that at the end of the month. I've done an individual tarot card reading for each zodiac sign to help to know how to work with that moon energy. Okay, so the full moon brings up a lot, as we all know. A lot of emotion comes up, and it's really good to work with it deliberately, to filter through it and to utilize it to benefit us. So every month we have an opportunity to do this emotional decluttering. And so that video is going to help you to work through this Gemini full moon, okay? So look out for that. Okay, and this month, it's time to surrender stubbornness. If you're tensing up or taking a rigid stance about something, gently observe yourself and become more yielding. This will help you communicate more lovingly with others and yourself. So this is that communication of your truth. It's interesting that this surrender stubbornness has come out when I've been telling you to be in alignment with your truth no matter what. Basically I've been telling you to dig in and be stubborn. But in a sense, it's is to hold that truth internally and to remain flexible. Okay, allowing other people. So what I'm telling you is that we're not trying to control anybody. We're not trying to control the events. We're not trying to control the environment. Okay, those things are outside of your sphere of control anyway. It's a wasted time and a waste of energy to even try to control any of those things. All you can control is yourself, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your state of being. So if your state of being is one of truth, one of authenticity, of shining your light out, that actually allows you to be more flexible with other people and to allow other people and the environment to be whatever it wants to be. It allows you to surrender stubbornness when it feels right inside. You'll know what I'm talking about when you tune into that and feel it for yourself. Okay, it's hard to put that into words, but so whilst there is this need to be this solid beam of light within, imagine that coming from your crown chakra all the way to your base chakra. Okay, there is this need to be that solid, wholesome person, but also being flexible and bendable as well. So we're not trying to get an exact result. We're not trying to get someone to do an exact thing. We're just trying to be ourselves. Okay, so that is your reading this month, Aquarius. It's been a pleasure to do this reading for you. I really appreciate your time here with me. Please do subscribe to my channel. It helps me to be able to do more of these readings. And I'll see you again soon. Take care.